Today we're talking about the evolution of data analytics with a special guest, Harry Glaser from Periscope Data. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, Doug. Thank you for having me.
What we are particularly excited about is a chance to talk to somebody who's really pushing the envelope with regard to data and data science, because we've been covering the space for probably about as long as you guys have been in business.
Yeah, sure.
So you've been riding that evolution as well.
Yeah.
But you really are pushing the envelope with the type of full-blown platform that you've brought to the table. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, I'm curious about the evolution and how we've gotten to where we are. What caused you to start Periscope, and where do you see the opportunity?
Yeah, it's funny. Periscope was a side project. And so we, at the time, were operating this sort of labs company, and we had a bunch of different products in market, and we wanted to look at the data. And in a past life, I worked at Google, and I worked on the ads product team, which was, and I think still is, maybe the most data-driven organization I have ever seen. And it was commonplace to store and analyze huge data sets, and to do it really rapidly, and to make every single product decision based on data. And so, 3 times a week, you would run a very complex analysis very quickly to make a decision about a product launch or a product design change. And so as we're operating this company, and we want to look at the data, we look at, and evaluate a number of business intelligence products that are out in the market that can maybe help us do that. And I wasn't really familiar with the market at the time, but I was used to what I had at Google, and I was pretty shocked at how kind of basic and maybe oversimplified and kind of slow some of the products out there were. And so we built a prototype over a weekend based on what I was used to at Google, so that we could analyze large data sets very, very quickly and get essentially real-time answers, and real-time answers to relatively hard questions. And it became the little side project that took off. I remember we launched around the same time that Redshift launched, that Amazon launched Redshift, and all of a sudden everybody was storing huge amounts of data, and everybody wanted to make all of their product decisions using data, very different types of data, all new kinds of data, and so we just took off right along with them. And we had a couple years before that of trying to sort of grind out a business, and then all of a sudden our biggest problem became just keeping up with all this growth, as we happened to be in the right place when the industry took off.
Well, and that's really the opportunity, isn't it? It's this massive explosion of data,
Yeah.
and all that represents in terms of perspectives for an enterprise.
Absolutely. I mean, my co-founder, our CTO, likes to say that we always have been looking at our sales and marketing data revenue by geography, right? The British East India Company looked at revenue by geography. And we were looking at that same data, using new systems all the way up until 5 years ago, when all of a sudden we have Internet of Things sensor data and real-time ships moving around the world, or cars moving around cities data, or product usage data, or real-time text message data. All of this is looked at in Periscope today. And so you want something that brings totally new and much more flexible capabilities, because you have all this data and all this diverse data.
Well, and so who knocks on your door? So,
Yeah.
Obviously there are a lot of flavors of solution out there, from fairly straightforward and simplistic to where you're pushing it. Who comes knocking on the door?
Yeah, so I would say historically, the world's most data-forward advanced data organizations will come knock on our door. And so that's how you will get Uber and Tinder and those kinds of places that are very data-forward as organizations, and know that they need the most advanced capabilities and the most advanced tooling and platforms. Where we are going as an organization is then saying, okay, we're going to take these incredible capabilities that we're able to give companies like Uber, and give them to maybe older companies that are still getting more mature as organizations. And that's where you get customers like HBO, customers like Harvard, et cetera. And so that's an evolution for us as we grow up as a company. Historically, to answer your question, it's been the most advanced organizations, but over time, it should be all organizations.
Well, so what's the business case as you're competing with some different types of solutions?
Well, it's about outcomes, right? So we were talking about HBO and how they can be a more attractive place for writers of TV shows to bring their business if they are able to give them the kind of feedback that comes from a really well-instrumented, movie and TV delivery service. So if you can tell people, oh, the viewership drop off for episodes by this writer tends to be at minute 22. We can give that feedback to the writing team and get better TV episodes out as a result. That's a better business outcome. And so it's about not just the business cases, not just you need machine learning. The business case is you will write better TV shows and retain your audience longer and make more money.
Well, and so that's HBO is an interesting example of what I would consider to be your not classic, data mover.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, the financial, retail, all the kind of classic large users.
Yeah.
What other kind of spaces do you see that more advanced analytics really assisting?
I mean, it is over time applicable to every space, right? This transformation that happens at a company when they start using data to make every decision, that's really fundamentally a cultural transformation, should happen over time in every space in the world. To answer your question more directly, right now I would say there's a lot of take-up in healthcare and health tech, which is, as a human in the world, I find that very exciting that healthcare companies are getting this sophisticated this quickly. And then I would say financial organizations are the other one where you see big pickup now. And these are organizations that 5 years ago, you say we're a cloud product, they go, thank you very much, this has been a good meeting. And now they want not just cloud products, but some of the most sophisticated data management and data analysis platforms that there are. I think that one is driven by relatively cutthroat competition in that space and people winning on data and on algorithms.
And so who's in the room when that first sales call is taking place? Who's driving the bus with regard to making a selection around that?
It really varies a lot, and I would say certainly it can vary from bottoms up. This is the case at Uber. A data analyst, a data scientist, a data team that wants to do a thing. They know they want to do that thing. They know they need certain capabilities, and so they call us up. To this would be more like HBO, top down, a vice president or a CEO going, we have this business problem. And what that person is buying is a business solution, a business outcome. And so, yes, they buy our platform, but we also have a lot of conversations with them about how to hire the team, how to organize the team. We will help them with interviews for the team, like all of that kind of stuff, because what they're really buying is the ultimate outcome and our ability to help them get that outcome.
Well, and I'm curious what kind of objections people might have with regard to, pushing that envelope.
I think that the problem can be sometimes whether you have the team or are able to attract the talent to form the team. So you want the business outcome. You know that you need this data team in order to get the business outcome, but there aren't a lot of data analysts, data scientists for hire. It can be very hard and very expensive to hire them. And so you can get stuck in this place of, okay, I need to get the team together, I need to get the situation organized, and then we'll get there, and then you just get stuck there. And so we will do anything we can to help you get unstuck, including, we have a ProServe arm, and so we will essentially rent you a data team if that's helpful for you. We will help you hire the data team. I imagine at some point we'll have job boards on our website for data professionals because that's helpful for our customers.
And that's not a unique problem to the data world. We see it in cybersecurity as
Absolutely.
well. There's serious talent challenge facing some of these companies when they really are trying to move to that next
100%,
level.
100%. The trends are good, right? You see the new boot camps being formed. You see the new university programs being formed. You see a lot of Google, places like Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft will train you to be a data scientist. Actually, at Periscope, we will train you to be a data scientist or data analyst. So all those trends are good. So I think it is ultimately a short-term problem. And the data industry will look like the software engineering industry 5 years from now in that, yes, it'll still be hard and expensive to hire, but fundamentally there will be a market that works. We're just in this tough place right now, and we're doing everything we can to help kickstart it with trainings, with ProServe teams, with education, et cetera.
Well, and in the end, I think it is a creativity issue. I mean, it strikes me that business scientists are only as good as their ability to envision how they're going to
I think that's right.
use the data.
We've talked a lot just now about the challenges for the business in terms of interacting with these teams. We also need to challenge the data professionals themselves. They need to be thinking not just about math and science and algorithms. They need to be thinking about the holistic impact of their work. They need to be thinking about business outcomes. Why is the CEO asking me to do this analysis? What outcome is the CEO really hoping for? And this is something I talk about a lot now. They need to be thinking about the long-term social outcomes of their work. There was a very, a team at Facebook of data scientists that is very, very strong mathematically and very, very strong algorithmically, and perhaps a little bit behind in thinking about the societal outcomes of their work. And that was bad for everyone. And so that kind of, it's on the practitioners themselves to start having a more holistic view of their work.
I'm curious, I know we're early in the adoption curve, but as you're walking through the door at some of these companies, where do you find them to be in terms of thinking about data? Are they just...
It really varies. And we have, internally we have what we call a maturity curve for data teams, and that we help them understand where they are in the maturity curve and even what's possible. And so, we have a lot of bells and whistles in our product and a lot of very advanced capabilities. And there are teams like Uber that use every single little piece of the platform and all the capabilities and are really a 5 out of 5 on the maturity curve. And then you have teams that are at a 1 or a 2, and they want to get there, but the thing to understand is that step by step. And so I would not necessarily recommend to a team that's still looking at historical data points on a line that it's time for some artificial intelligence. What it's time for is to start doing some more sophisticated analysis, maybe hire a data scientist or two, maybe start doing some regressions and some prediction models, get from a 2 to a 3, and then we'll keep growing and we'll keep going. So I think it's good news for everyone, but you want to understand where you are and you want to understand what the next step is.
So one piece of advice you could offer somebody who's thinking of trying to get their analytics to the next level?
It's all about the talent. If you are a CEO and you want to get your analytics to the next level, it is ultimately, just like all of your problems as a CEO, it's a people problem. And the best thing you can do to make your organization more data-driven is to get a better data team, a more experienced data team, get a really experienced VP of data or chief data officer. That's what really moves the needle.
Harry, thanks very much. Good conversation, excellent perspective. We appreciate it very much. We would certainly encourage you to take a look at Periscope Data. They have an amazing website and obviously an amazing solution and are really working with the most advanced data users in the world. And also check out everything that we're offering at Solutions Review with regard to analysis and reporting on the data space in general.
Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate the time. It's great to be here.
Thanks a lot, Harry.
Yeah.